Filming. My name is Chris, and I grew up just outside of New York City. This is Zach, and he's a close friend of mine from Seattle. We've grown up with very similar lives. These are the houses we were born in, our families, the awkward middle school phase, the sports we played, and these are the things we did for fun. I met Zach during my first year at college, and we quickly became close friends. Our lives are fast-paced, and these are the things that we're used to seeing every day. This is Chino. He is 12 years old and lives in a rural village in Guatemala. He lives in extreme poverty, on less than $1 a day. How can we begin to understand what his life is like, about what it means to live every day with no clean water, little food, and poor shelter? And just like Chino, there are over 1.1 billion people around the world that survive on $1 a day. Zach and I study international development in school, but there are some things that a textbook just can't answer. So we're creating a plan to spend our summer living on only $1 a day in a rural Guatemalan village, in Chino's village.
I love you, and come home quickly, okay?
Okay, bye Mom, I love you. Bye.
Why do it?
I mean, I think it's just an amazing opportunity to learn for myself what it really means to live under $1 a day, which, coming from this reality, I can't really say I have any idea.
I love you. I love you too.
We're bringing along 2 filmmakers and setting out to better understand the reality of extreme poverty firsthand. Let's do this. We're beginning our journey in Guatemala City with a 6-hour ride on the back of a crowded chicken bus. We are headed to the village of Peña Blanca, that's representative of rural poverty in many parts of the world. In these remote areas of Guatemala, 7 out of 10 people live under the poverty line.
Is that you're hitting stuff there?
Well, I think we've got a boundary of like a big rock right here, so this might have to be our edge.
Sweet.
Maybe it's just can be chipped away. Yeah, it can.
Okay. Why is it going out?
You're pulling it too hard.
Pulling it too hard? No. Sadness.
We're getting rid of everything that's needs
8 weeks of this. Oh god.
I cannot believe it came together. This is so one of those ideas that we would talk about and never do.
Oh, we're here.
Audio recording.
Filming.
Well,
We're here in the rural highlands in the small village of Peña Blanca. There are about 300 people living here, most of whom are Mayan.
Most of the people only spoke a Mayan dialect called Cachiquel, and it was impossible to learn.
We want to live as close as possible to the reality of poverty, so we're replicating a few key aspects of it. Our budget for the trip is $1 a day each for 56 days. But instead of giving ourselves $1 every day, we're making our income unpredictable. This way, we do not know when we'll get paid. We're doing this because many of our neighbors are employed informally as day laborers or farmers, so they never know when they'll get paid or how much they'll make. We're simulating this by taking our total budget of $1 a day each and splitting it into random numbers between 0 and 9. Then every morning, we'll pick a number out of a hat. If we pick a 9, we make $9 that day.
Pulled a 9.
No way! You got a 9?
Or it's a 6.
That's a 9 for sure. It's great news. Hey, dude, he's good.
A second aspect of poverty we want to simulate is the process of starting our own business. So we're taking out a loan of $125 to pay for somewhere to live and for a plot of land to grow radishes on. Our small loan is part of a service for the poor called microfinance. Zach and I have heard both good and bad things about these banks, but wanted to see firsthand if they were helping in Peña Blanca, both from our neighbors and by taking out a loan ourselves. This means that every 15 days we'll have to pay back small installments of $6.25 or else have to default on our loan.
I mean, we got 1,312 quetzales. That's how much we have left, yeah. So,
Get a chicken, sell some eggs.
yeah, I mean, out of that, we could get, I mean, if we buy a chicken out of that, that's...
Dude, we're not buying chicken out of
I think we should buy a chicken out of that.
that. No, dude, like, it doesn't even, like, chickens don't, like, automatically lay eggs. We don't have money for feed. And we can buy, like, fruit or anything else that's so much better for us.
Okay, we'll research the chicken
Okay,
egg.
but, like, dude, like,
Chicken
I'm
egg
so
complex.
angry if we're, like, if our chicken doesn't lay eggs.
Por la tarde, ¿qué vas a hacer? ¿A jugar? ¿Qué quieres? ¿Qué te gusta jugar? Fútbol. Ah, ¿te gusta fútbol?
Mami,
Yo también.
saliste ahí, ¿te vas a qué?
Hola.
Is that really where we're gonna get water from?
Oh, dude, there's a bug in there. Sean, you should check this out. That's actually how much stuff is in there. Hey, we have a water source.
That was the whole point. And we can't grow anything that's going to finish
That'll
by
actually
the time we leave.
But if we can actually grow radishes potentially in time, does that sort of switch our idea back?
Well, except for that I still don't know how to really grow radishes. I mean, like, radishes completely, like, anything depends on, like, the soil content, which we have no idea about. Like, it depends on, like, how much fertilizer we need, like you just need to know how to farm, and we just, like, don't. I mean, we could wing it and try and hope that it works.
But, like, yeah.
¿A 10?
Sí.
Ah,
Es muy caro.
muy caro.
Qué malo. ¿Cómo así?
Sí, como así. 6 semanas vuelven a comer.
Gracias, don Carlos.
Ya le vamos a llegar.
Sí, muchísimas gracias. Six.
Hey, gracias.
one of my questions was, were the people in living extreme poverty like really thinking about how they manage money? Or was it this survival mode and it's like just trying to scrape together anything they have just to feed their children? ¿Cuánto cuesta este? 8. ¿8? We can't. Firewood is probably the most expensive thing that we were buying in our budget.
We are living on the line, on the edge always of being able to drop into a really bad situation.
It's the best thing I've ever eaten. 1.5 pounds of black beans gives us 1,600 calories. 1.5 pounds of yellow rice gives us 2,000 roughly. But still, like 3,600 calories split amongst 4 people is not good enough for our daily value. Zach fell flat on his ass after. Every time we stand up for some reason, like, get huge head rushes, I've almost passed out, like, I don't know, today probably like 3 times. And I don't know if that's a lack of nutrition or what the deal is, but Zach actually went for it today. We had our first full-on fall, and when he came to, he was only speaking in Spanish.
I'm used to eating a lot, I'm used to being active a lot, but when you're not eating anything, when you're eating like 500 calories, you become incredibly lethargic, you have zero energy to do anything.
Hari kowe benung ko makahanamah ke khona kasi mahon to puente ke anon mahon chikulta e rmasha atsan qatah ke qawal tishti aliment jawar mahon aliment.
This is only my second week actually in Peña Blanca, and I feel like we're already showing signs of being worn down and dejected.
We all have these pulgas. We all kind of got destroyed on our dirt floors. Son de pulgas. ¿Tienes pulgas? Sí, yo también. And you know, that was the point where I was, like I want to go home. Like I need to get out of here. Like why am I doing this? And we were eating better than a lot of the people in the community.
Jose Enrico just brought us a gift.
He wrote us a letter.
Does he wants us from the classroom? ¿Y has preguntado a su profesor?
Sí.
¿Sí?
Ah, gracias, Jose.
Llevo 4 años aquí, 2 años ya como director.
Hay algunos que no quieren hacer las cosas. Aquí van a hacer esto.
Hay un 40% de estudiantes que no terminan, no tienen para venir a la escuela, entonces tienen que ir a trabajar.
Ok, hasta miércoles. Sí. Chao, amigos. That was absolutely nuts. Did you see that madness? That was 315 kids playing with like 6 different balls at the same time. And I don't know, what's up, Carlos? And I don't know how many games and like snacks were distributed, but that was nuts. That was nuts. How fun, yeah. How fun.
We really didn't know who he was initially, that he was kind of just the kid that was always around, and he was just like so eager to learn.
Chino, ¿recuerdas cómo estás? How?
Are you?
Sí, perfecto. It turns out Chino's family couldn't afford the $25 cost of books and supplies for school.
They had a family of 8 that lived in a single room. They no longer had electricity because they couldn't pay for it. You know, his father never knew when he was going to work or not because he worked as a day laborer. And Chino, who was 12, had to work in the fields. We'd see him coming, walking up the mountain with this thing wrapped around his head and like a huge bundle of like logs and sticks behind him. At one point, Chris asked Chino, like, you know, if you could do anything, what would you be? And Chino's response was, you know, I'm going to be a farmer. And you know, Chris was like, you know, like, what would you be if you could be anything? And I mean, he was like, I'd be a pro soccer player. But at 12 years old, Chino had accepted the fate that he was going to be a farmer.
Ato mam siyatek porque pues subabakas si maharuting nila porta etc.
Chino, like most of the people here, speaks Cachiquel and only a few words of Spanish.
Me gusta aprender español.
¿Por qué quieres aprender español?
Puede encontrar un trabajo.
Aguacate.
Oh,
En inglés es avocado.
Avocado.
Sí.
Avocado.
Avocado. Y comida es food. Comida en cachiquel es ik.
Esta inglesa.
Este
Sí.
se llama candle. Candle. En cachiquel.
Candel.
Oh, sí, es como el mismo.
Yeah, I mean, I think I completely saw myself in a lot of them. You know, I was like eager to learn when you're like so excited about building little things outside of our house, and you know that's what I did for my childhood, and realizing that it is the situation that they're in that's holding them back, not who they are.
¿Puedes recoger? ¿Cómo estás? How?
How are you?
Sí.
How are you?
Qué bien. Es tres palabras.
How
How
are
you?
Revenues are growing.
I know. I'm gonna pay off our microfinance loan, and we'll eat more. It's gonna happen, man. I can sense it already.
Very clumpy though.
They are really clumpy. That's bad, right?
Everything about a banana just brings me joy here. You peel it back, it's naked. It's a naked fruit.
Vulnerable.
I just take a bite and savor it each time. Like it's the best bite of banana I'll ever take every single time.
I just make sure like the top of the banana is always even after.
Oh yeah, you know, like your teeth marks kind of indented like this.
Yeah.
So then you gotta play the game and like reverse the bite.
Oh, nice, yeah. Move it
So
out.
that it's even, you know, like it just slows down your eating too.
As economics majors, Chris and I were really interested in how do the person living under $1 a day manage their money.
So we were asking people questions like, how much money do you make? What are your expenses? Where do you save money? Do you have any outstanding loans? And these are really personal questions for anyone.
Hola, buenas tardes.
Hola, buenas.
Hola, ¿cómo te llamas? Yo me llamo Antonio.
Ah, qué bien.
Anthony, and I think the first week we were there, he was like the first grown up from the community to come to our house, introduce himself. You know, he was so excited to meet us.
Algún día, cuando tengan tiempo, pueden llegar a mi casa. Ahí está mi esposa, tengo hijos, papá y mi mamá.
Bueno,
y ahí vivo, aquí la vueltecita vivo. Sí, no es tan lejos.
Just 24 and 20 years old, Anthony and Rosa already manage a household of 8 people. As a family, they survive on $1.25 each per day to pay for not only food, but larger costs of a new baby, their kids' education, and repairs to their house.
His wife is 20. I'm 20. She has 3 children.
His wife's younger than me,
14.
dude. I feel like
He's 24.
I look up to her so much.
125
No, es como uno.
They're teaching us how to more efficiently make fires, cook more substantive food, and better bargain in town. Living so close to the edge, these small changes are having huge impacts on our lives. Probably the most important one is lard.
We bought some straight lard today in town to try to add to our fat content. If you could feel this texture right now, it is one of the foulest things ever. This lard right here has, 208 grams of fat and 1,800 calories, which is the equivalent more than the rice or beans that we were eating.
And we started mashing our beans and refrying our beans in lard.
It's so good in the stomach.
In our third week, they invited us over to their home for a small snack. But when we arrived, they were preparing the traditional meal of pulik, served only twice a year for special occasions.
Sí, claro.
Sean, you should sit down.
Decir algunas palabras también en la cámara.
Oh, sí, claro, claro. He wants to say a few things to the camera.
Ah, sí.
Sí, puedo decir sí. Yo, ustedes, Cristóbal, Zach, Brian y Sean, para mí son como hermanos. Todos ustedes cuatro. Y si ustedes quieren regresar a mi casa, yo les doy la casa y comida, aunque sea una taza de pulik.
Muchísimas gracias.
Our desire to repay Anthony and Rosa, not only for the expense of the incredible food, but also their generosity, is overwhelming. They have so little, yet they're willing to give so much. We all agreed that somehow we will save the money to cook them a pulik dinner before we go.
We do like 60. It's only 3 days. We can just decrease the amount we can get like, pound and a half. I mean, I don't think we even really need to dip into our savings that much.
Yeah.
At all.
That'd be awesome.
If we just want to like not eat very much.
We drew a low number today, so we're having some struggles with how we need to pay Anthony's family back and also pay off our loan, which is due in 3 days. So
We drew really low numbers for 4 days.
I pulled 4 numbers in a row, and 2 of them were zeros and 2 of them were ones. So amongst the 4 of us, we had 12 cents a person to live on per day.
And we woke up and it was market day, and we literally have no money for food.
open the other one there.
So this is a big pull. We need at minimum a 2 or higher. If you get a 1, no bananas. If we get a 0, you gotta go talk to Anthony and take out a loan from him. It's a 9.
No!
Dude, you're the clutchest
puller.
It's a mosh pit.
Yes.
Oh my god.
Dude,
So
cute. Bananas for everyone.
We got lucky and pulled a 9. But what if you're out of food and you don't know the next time money will be coming in? How do you choose between feeding your child or keeping them in school?
Pues yo pensaba iba a estudiar y lograr la carrera de enfermería, pero no pude hacerlo. Después de que saqué 6º grado, sobre todo mis padres no pudieron darme estudios. Entonces me quedé así, estuve trabajando. Y también por las otras niñas yo me sentía muy triste, porque ellas andaban vestidas bien, tenían zapatos, tenían todo, y mientras que uno no. Sí. deseo de continuar con mis estudios. Y a la vez ahora quiero todavía. Quisiera estudiar, quisiera lograr la carrera que yo quiero. Eso es lo que yo deseo.
Sí.
Sí, yo deseo tener mi título, mi licencia de enfermería.
It's day 28, right? Day 28?
Day 28.
It's day 28 of our... We had started to do these really amazing interviews around the 4th week, and Chris and I spoke Spanish, so we were understanding everything that was going on, and we had started to be affected by these stories, but Ryan and Sean didn't speak Spanish. And they were talking, and they're like, when you finally deal with, this learning how to survive, it's not so bad.
No problem. This is not that hard, We're halfway through. I could do this for another, 2 years.
I just got really angry and upset because clearly the people we were around, they had learned to survive, but it wasn't okay. And it wasn't easy for them. And they had to work so hard every single day, and they couldn't follow their dreams because they couldn't go to school because they had to provide for their family. And Chris and I were so involved with this research that we weren't sharing what was going on.
What were some of the questions in general? I mean, I guess I don't really even know what you guys were asking.
We started getting into where all their income was coming from, and what skills they used to work, and what they really deal with to find money in emergencies, and their lives are so much more complicated than our initial interviews showed.
Even something as simple as what you cook with is important. A broken stove or cooking over an open fire can have dramatic effects on the health of a family, especially on the kids. Cuando era joven, cocinaba en un tipo de fuego como así.
Así cocinamos antes, cuando éramos así, de pequeñito, así cocinamos. Pero ahora ya ha cambiado mucho, ya tenemos pollo.
It's incredibly hard to save up a large amount of money for a cooking stove, but Anthony did it with 12 of his friends by using an innovative idea called a savings club. Together, they each decided to save $12 every month. And at the end of each month, the total sum of $144 would be randomly distributed to one of the members. This process then repeats itself until each person has benefited from a large sum of money at a single time.
And that large sum of money was much more useful to them because they could take that money and spend it on a big ticket item like a stove, or maybe pay for a wedding. And that's really innovative. And we started talking about how close this community was, and we hang out with Chino every day. And his mom this past year got really sick, and they don't even have enough money to get a car to go to the hospital in town. And Anthony covered the entire thing.
Era como a las 11 de la noche, Víctor llegó a mi casa, me decía, es que mi esposa está enferma y yo no tengo dinero. Entonces me dice, y si no encuentro dinero, mi esposa se va a morir.
And Anthony actually paid for them to go to the hospital. He paid for the doctor's visits
and the
medicine.
Anthony can afford the loan because he's the only one in the village who has a formal job. Unlike everyone else, he can count on getting a regular paycheck.
Yo cuando di dinero a la familia de Chino, veo la necesidad que tienen, porque yo miro a Chino como que si fuera yo mismo.
And while Anthony did help these other people, that's still a huge strain on their own finances. Yeah, that's where if there was, you know, an institution willing to take on that risk and lend to someone like Chino's parents, you know, then they don't have to put a strain on Antonio.
And you know, not everyone has that community around them or the people they can go to in times of need. You know, and that was something that. Hola, Chino.
Hola.
And Chino. Yeah.
Hola. ¿Cómo estás?
Bien, bien.
How are you?
Qué buena. Good. I am good.
How are you?
How are you?
Good.
Sí, bueno. That yeah, not everyone has, you know, has such a tight knit community around them.
So if you have an emergency like Chino's parents here, like what are you gonna do if you don't, you know, you don't have that person right next to you, or you don't have the emergency funds, or that community to rely on?
It's true.
Your temple's pretty sick at the moment. It's got a little bit of an upset tummy.
This is just gonna make me vomit.
At one point I had both Giardia and E. coli at the same time, and you know, that's no good, especially when you only have 2 pairs of boxers and you're sleeping, you know, on the same mat, sharing a blanket with someone next to you.
Chris is really sick. I just heard him get up. Just doesn't sound like he's doing very well.
Dude, I think I have that like sulfuric burp thing happening again. Or like I can't even push on my stomach. I can't sleep another night like this.
Gonna go get Chris tested for some bacterial infections and see if he has a parasite, or hopefully it's just a stomach thing.
Today in town we found out that Chris has some parasites in his stomach.
It's called Giardia.
Giardia, I believe.
And it's like living in my small intestine in here. And it causes like excessive bloating and stomach pressure.
Pero más o menos como unos 200 quetzales.
200 quetzales. The medicine is 200 quetzales. So even if people could afford to get tested, it's incredibly expensive to actually get the medicine.
There's no way we could pay that cost. I have to use medicine that we brought in case of emergency. If we can't budget for a simple sickness, what will we do in the case of a more serious problem? Just 2 months before we arrived, Hurricane Agatha smashed through Guatemala.
Disaster workers in Guatemala say at least a dozen people are dead. The tropical storm Agatha slammed into its Pacific coast Saturday.
Corredores por allá ha afectado mucho.
Entonces estamos cultivando, viene mucho aguacero y viene la corriente, se le llevó.
¿Cuál porcentaje de su tierra perdiste en tormenta Agatha?
Como un 75%.
75%.
Así es.
Cuando hay algún desastre, un derrumbe, una enfermedad, si no tienes dinero, perdiste tu casa, perdiste todo tu terreno, ¿qué debes hacer?
If you've lost everything, how do you get the money to get back on your feet? How do you begin building a lump sum to start a business? We wanted to see if getting a loan from a traditional bank was even an option for our neighbors. Okay, so you're gonna have to put the camera down initially, I think, unless you want me to just like through the door and then put it down. Hola, buenas. ¿Es posible que él puede sacar una foto de mí cuando estoy preguntando sobre el préstamo?
Porque me estaban informando que no se pueden tomar fotos aquí adentro.
No es posible. Okay. We can't take photos inside. No, are you going for the discrete film? Yeah, sweet. ¿Qué necesito ganar en mi negocio para tener un crédito? Sí.
Estos son los requisitos míos. En un momento nosotros pedimos.
Perfecto, ok. Sí, muchísimas gracias por su ayuda.
Let's get out.
That was highly illegal to be doing. So I tried to see if we could get a 3,000 quetzale loan. And the problem is we need all of these other items. We need a receipt of our electricity bills. We need an NIT number, which she said costs a bunch of money to get. We need a copy of the amount of money we're making, which I don't think we can get if we have a informal job. Bills from the last 3 months, 2 people who will sign for us, and then we need to be able to sign our name, too. There's no chance we could get a loan from that bank. There's just no way.
I think we should ask.
I mean, I really want to know. We visited Rosa again to see if there are any other options.
Doña María me dijo, hay un servicio que se llama Grameen y ahí nos pueden ayudar con un préstamo.
Grameen provides reliable savings accounts and loans designed to empower the poorest of the poor to improve their lives.
Grameen es más fácil de recibir un préstamo porque trabaja con cosas sencillas, no piden tantas cosas como en otros bancos, piden como la escritura de la casa o del terreno, no como Grameen solo pide fotocopia de cédula, es cosas sencillas.
With a loan of just $200, Rosa was able to start her own weaving business.
It was so huge to see the potential for what even the simple access to credit can do in the lives of our neighbors, of our close friends.
Sí.
Mi préstamo para mí fue una solución porque de poder hacer algo. Con eso compré mis hilos y con la ganancia empecé a pagar mis estudios.
Entonces, otro ejemplo acá.
When a Grameen borrower receives a loan, they also commit to opening a long-term savings account, a safe and a convenient way to build up a large sum of money. We found that beyond using a loan or savings account to start a business, our neighbors were using them to absorb shocks and make investments around the house.
Y nos dio esos 3,000 quetzales, con esos 3,000 quetzales hicimos el piso y quedó bonito la casa. Ahora ya no filtra agua dentro de la casa.
These financial services such as microfinance, they go far beyond just providing extra capital. They really shape the family and they have these side effects of empowering women.
Finally, we have ravenos. We have grown our ravenos, and now we have tons and
What
tons.
happened is there's an explosion of ravenos.
Instead of selling our radishes, we're giving them out as gifts to thank the people we've interviewed. These radishes represent a new source of income for us, one that can move us closer to $2 a day. While that still doesn't seem like much, it would double our livelihood.
And it's kind of those small incremental changes that actually have such a profound effect on people that are living at that level. And, I feel like that will have such an impact on the next generation of that family that it's really there that we'll see progress out of poverty.
Sí, qué bueno. No, pero aquí hay una música que es el son. El son así se llama. Nunca.
After all of this research, we had saved up the whole time for this Pulik dinner. It was just this amazing moment, and that was the last day that we were there. We wanted to convey just like how appreciative we were of what they had done for us, and not only from what they had shared with us, but being our friends and building a relationship with us, and in many ways teaching us and accepting us as a friend instead of just a foreigner.
What can I do as an individual?
That's the hardest part about it, and what we were talking about last night is there is no one answer, that we've poured $2.5 trillion in international development trying to end poverty, and a lot of times it's just made things worse. Like, that's what we're trying to prove so much right here, is the power of partial solutions. That, there's more people who are not living in poverty than there are living in poverty. Like, each individual can affect and help a single other individual. We can change the world. Hello.
Oh, hello.
How are you?
Good, thank you. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. What is your name?
My name is Carlos. What is your name?
My name is Chris. It's nice to meet you.
It's nice to meet you.
Respuesta nos hoja igual a 1370.
Bueno, good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
How are you?
No. En inglés, ¿qué es la respuesta? How are you?
Good.
Good, sí.
What
is
your
name? Es 4 palabras en
What is your name?
I now have a much deeper respect for someone living at that level. I lost 20 pounds in just 2 months, and I got to go home and rehabilitate. But what if that's someone's life, where they live like that day in and day out with no nutrition and not an adequate amount of food?
It was something that we could never have, imagined. It was something we had to live.
quería ser enfermera y ojalá que Dios quiera voy a tener ese deseo, cumplir mi sueño.
En los Estados Unidos o la gente en los Estados Unidos que están mirando este video.
A la gente que van a ver, un saludo y saludan a sus padres también, a sus madres, todos, a sus demás familias también.
Gracias, Tom. Sí.
Gracias por todo.
Pero también les quiero pedir ese favor también, que no se vayan a olvidar de la gente de Peña Blanca. Nosotros estamos luchando de cómo superar nuestras vidas, pero también estamos luchando de cómo sobrevivir.
Oh, Zach, can we have it? Can we have it? Look, it's a chicken. Can we have it, Zach? I really... Oh,